Hello, good evening, Monday evening. Welcome to North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our top story. Survivors' families described the heavy weight of trauma as the public inquiry into the Southport attack resumes. They told the hearing today about a scene reserved for nightmares. Also tonight, we hear from the mum of soldier Jaisley Beck, who took her own life after being sexually assaulted in the army. Councillors find themselves in a tight spot in a row over parking charges in Liverpool. Going back to his roots, the comedian John Bishop takes us back to where it all started for him.
If this place didn't exist, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be a comedian. Genuinely, it was a sliding doors moment.
Against the odds, why going to the races is still proving a firm favourite with punters at Haydock Park.
First time for me that I've ever been to any races, so I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
It's one of our favourites, to be fair. We can go to, say, Doncaster on a Friday and it's absolutely dead, but Haydock's much better.
And it's been an unsettled start to the week. Some lovely spells of sunshine, but equally scenes like this, heavy rain-bearing clouds. How are we doing for the rest of the week? Join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
The public inquiry into the Southport stabbings resumed today. It began with a series of witness statements from the families of 4 of the survivors and from one of the adults who tried to help, businessman John Hayes, who says his scar is a daily reminder of what happened. Now, the attacker's name is not being used during the inquiry at the request of the families, and that is something that we will also respect. Mairead Smith was listening to the testimony today. She joins us live from the inquiry now. So, Mairead, tell us more about what Mr Hayes said today.
Well, Roger, John Hayes spoke about how he was working in his office, which was beside the dance studio where the attacker carried out his unprovoked attack, a random attack on a dance studio where children were enjoying a summer workshop. He killed 3 girls, 9-year-old Alice Aguirre, 7-year-old Elsie Dot Stancombe and 6-year-old BB King, and injured 8 other children and 2 adults, including John Hayes. Now, he spoke today about what he saw, the injuries he suffered, and the lasting trauma of what happened. He says he still gets flashbacks from that day, still wakes up with horrific images in his mind. Now, before today's proceedings began, the lawyer representing the families of those 3 girls who were killed spoke outside Liverpool Town Hall, and he said that the families hope that this inquiry leaves no stone unturned.
We are committed to bringing about change and ensuring the legacies of Elsie, Alice and Bibi are of hope and joy. Our 3 families cling to the hope that if they tread this painful path of discovery and uncovering the truth, no other families will have to again.
And Mairead, the families of some of the other children who were there that day also gave statements today.
Yes, and as you can imagine, it was a really tough experience for those families. The mother of 2 sisters who were there that day spoke first. They've been referred to as child C6 and T, and this is to protect the anonymity of the children who were there and, of course, the anonymity of their families too. She spoke about the devastating impact of the attack on her daughters and their families' lives, and she said, "We are deeply grateful that our girls are still alive, but that exists alongside the heavy weight of trauma, grief and the daily reality of PTSD. We have never faced anything like this before, and there is no such handbook for navigating the aftermath of such trauma." The inquiry also heard from the mother of child M, whose daughter survived without physical injuries but saw her friend killed. The mother said the family have since left Southport due to their traumatic experiences, and the statement from the mother of child U was read by her solicitor. She said her daughter still begs to sleep with mummy at night, but what she doesn't know, and I won't allow myself to show her, is that mummy is scared too. The inquiry will continue here tomorrow morning.
Mairead, thank you. Mairead Smith. Right, let's take a look at some of the other stories that are making headlines in the North West tonight. And 6 people have been jailed for a total of more than 30 years, and 4 others have also been sentenced over drugs imported from the United States, which was sold in Blackpool and St Anne's. Police say that the gang used people, including their girlfriends and other family members, to sell heroin, crack and cocaine. Westmoreland and Furness Council has said that there's no place for Islamophobia in Cumbria after a series of protests took place outside a mosque which is being built at Dalton and Furness. The Islamic Prayer Centre is due to open next year. An e-scooter, which was illegally adapted to reach speeds of up to 90 miles an hour, has been seized by police in Lancashire. It was one of 2 recovered from Rishton near Accrington. Officers say that they posed an incredibly serious risk. A new boathouse and jetty could be built on Windermere, which will replace those which were destormed by Storm Desmond in 2015. Plans show that the new structure on Bellman Landing will have a steel frame and concrete walls to make it more robust. Now, Jaisley Beck was a 19-year-old soldier who took her own life after the army failed to deal properly with complaints that she made about being sexually assaulted. The teenager from Cumbria was found dead in her barracks in 2021. An inquest concluded that the way her case was handled contributed to her death. Well, now a former sergeant major has admitted sexually assaulting her, as Jonas Muller reports.
When Jaisley Beck left school and joined the army, she was excited and ecstatic. Her family say she loved her job.
Jaisley was a very kind, caring girl, wore a heart on her sleeve, loving, just everything you could wish for in a child.
But in 2021, she was sexually assaulted by a staff sergeant. That left her terrified. 6 months later, the teenager took her own life. Leanne McCready said losing her daughter and the last 4 years have been traumatic.
Why has he let us as a family go through this? Because I genuinely believe, had they have not disbelieved her, my daughter still would have been with us.
The Royal Artillery gunner in Wiltshire was at a social event when she was sexually assaulted by Battery Sergeant Major Michael Webber.
She hid in the toilets because she believed that he was going to be following her. She actually stood on the toilet seat, so he was hopefully not able to find her. And still scared, she then took herself into a car and locked herself in a car.
Twice she tried to report the assault. An inquest found the Army's handling of the complaint played more than a minimal contributory part in her death.
She should have been reassured that every action was going to be taken, and they believed her, but instead they said, you do know, Jaisley, you will be classed as a female troublemaker.
The Army has apologised and said more should have been done. It says there is a zero tolerance now towards unacceptable sexual behaviours.
We support the family and all victims of abuse in the military to get the justice that they need. Frankly, we need to do more to change the culture of our armed forces.
I want to see those that contributed to my daughter's death held accountable. And until that happens, I will not be able to grieve for my daughter in the way that a mum should. I'm lost, I'm completely lost without her. But in my mind, I always say that she's with me in a different way, just not in the way that I want her to be with me.
Leanne's fight for her daughter continues, who, she says, despite the way she was treated, wanted to stay in the army and was a proud soldier. Jonas Muller, BBC North West Tonight, Ulverston.
Well, thanks to Leanne for speaking to us. Right, here are some of the other stories that people are reading this evening from BBC News. And a mobile phone ban in Isle of Man schools is working well. That's according to the island's education minister. It's been in place since last September. A runner got lucky when they were injured in the Great Kinder Barrel Race at the weekend. 7 members of the Edale Mountain Rescue Team were actually taking part, carrying beer barrels in the Peak District, and they were able to start the rescue. And the St Helens comedian and part-time potter Johnny Vegas says he feels like a proper artist because some of his sculptures are being shown in the British Ceramics Biennial for the next 6 weeks. You can read out more at bbc.co.uk/local news or have a look on the BBC News app. Councillors in Liverpool are, you might think, in a bit of a tight spot over city centre parking charges tonight. You may know we've reported this a few times. Prices have gone up and the hours that you have to pay for parking have been extended through the evening. And that, of course, has upset bar staff, restaurant staff, people who work in the nighttime economy, because they say they have to drive into work. They can't get public transport because of the times that they're working, and therefore they have to park in order to do their jobs. However, we have discovered that some councillors might not be feeling the pinch themselves, as Mark Waddington will explain.
Being a musician in Liverpool can be a tough gig, so the news that parking in the city centre at night would no longer be free wasn't exactly music to Barry Dalman's ears.
It seems as if the council's assuming that everybody coming into the city is just coming for leisure purposes. But there's people who work here and don't have any choice but to drive. For musicians, we've got heavy equipment to move. We can't take it on public transport. It's not possible to transport a drum kit or a double bass or heavy keyboards without using a car. So we only have the choice of using a car to get to work.
People who work in the city's food and drink sector say they too are suffering from the new charges, and in some cases are worried about their safety.
Because we're doing different shift patterns, and sometimes we do in the evenings till quite late. So we used to be able to park around restaurant or like in a very short distance after 6 p.m. At the moment we need to park a little bit outside, so for myself it's a little bit scary and dangerous to walk, especially at night time on a busy Friday or Saturday night.
The council has said raising charges to £4 an hour and extending them until 11 p.m. would bring in much needed extra cash. But a Freedom of Information request by the BBC revealed the authority spends £30,000 a year just so councillors can avoid having to pay when they need to park in the city centre.
Councillors can park for free in this car park in Victoria Street, and there is no limit on when or for how long they can park. Now, the council does say they have to be there on official business and that the scheme runs on trust.
It's pretty insulting to, musicians, hospitality workers, that they get to park for free because it doesn't affect them. They don't get to live the reality of the consequences.
Liverpool City Council previously looked at ending free parking for councillors and increasing allowances instead, but the idea was rejected by the independent body that decides. A review of the scheme is due later this year, though.
Well, it's massively frustrating. It feels like one rule for them and a different rule for us. We don't have the option to use public transport to get to work. We have to move our equipment. So for councillors to be able to park for free, it feels like they're not standing by what they're saying. They said that they want to incentivise people to use public transport, but they're not doing that for their own people.
Mark Waddington, BBC North West Tonight, Liverpool.
Your views, as always, are welcome. nwt@bbc.co.uk is our email address. Let's move on to sport. Julia is here this evening. And we've got news regarding a legal dispute between Manchester City and the Premier League. There's a bit of a but attached to it, but nonetheless, it's important.
Yes, it is a very big but, and it is a very complicated one, this as well. So just to be clear, this is not related to the club's 115 charges for alleged breaches of the Premier League's financial rules. This agreement is to do with sponsorship rules, or so-called associated party transactions. The club had mounted a legal challenge against the Premier League, claiming new rules were unlawful. But the two parties have now reached an agreement and say they won't be making any further comment. You can get more on this story on the BBC Sport website. There was a great start to the Women's Super League season for two of our North West sides yesterday. Manchester United beat Leicester City 4-0 at home. Ella Toone opening the scoring, this one from Melvine Mallard, the pick of the bunch at the end of the game. While Spanish midfielder Ornella Vignola became the first Everton player since Dixie Dean in 1931 to score a hat-trick in a Merseyside derby. Liverpool lost 4-1 at home. It was a fourth defeat in a row at Anfield in this fixture. In League One, Stockport lost at Plymouth. Wigan drew at Lincoln City, but the big win was for Bolton, who broke a run of 4 successive 1-1 draws to register a comfortable victory against 9-man AFC Wimbledon. Joel Randall wrapping it up here for the Trotters. League Two, Barrow and Fleetwood Town both lost, as did Accrington Stanley, who are yet to win this season. Crewe drew 1-1 at Colchester United. Oldham beat Cambridge United away from home. And Salford City were impressive as they thrashed Tranmere 3-1. Osama Ashley wrapping up the victory for the hosts here with their third goal close to the end of the game. On to Rugby League, and Christian Wade is to leave reigning Super League champions Wigan Warriors at the end of this season for a return to rugby union with Newcastle Red Bulls. Well, the weekend's action saw Lee Leopards win 34-12 at Warrington Wolves, and St Helens suffered a defeat at home to Wigan on Friday evening. Saints took the early lead, but the visitors fought back to keep their bid for the league leaders' shield. Jai Field here racing all the way for his try in the second half. Now, British horse racing will take an unprecedented step this week and stage a one-day strike in protest against the government's proposed tax rise on the sport. There'll be no fixtures on Wednesday after 4 meetings were rescheduled. Bosses at Aintree and Haydock Park are backing the move, claiming it will hit revenue and jobs. Saturday saw the biggest race meeting of the year at Haydock. Judy Hobson went along.
It's the busiest day of the year at Haydock Park. Around 7,000 are here today, and against all the odds, this course is increasing the size of the crowd on race days all year round.
We've had a 27% increase in terms of the people that have come this summer, and within that there's been a 54% increase in 18 to 24-year-olds who have come here as well. So it's something more people have been getting into.
But the industry is concerned about proposals to raise tax on online bets on horse racing to 21%.
Horse racing is funded by people betting on the sport. Less money coming into the sport is going to be damaging. That has a trickle-on impact to the race courses, to people employed within the Northwest who work in the racing industry. Those 3 days of the Grand National Meeting have a value of over £60 million of economic impact into the Northwest. All of those will be impacted if the government proposals do go ahead.
The government says it's still consulting on the proposal and says aligning tax rates to other forms of online gaming would cut down on bureaucracy. But this controversy wasn't at the forefront of people's minds at Haydock. The big race of the day was the Betfair Sprint Cup.
The Sprint Cup is run over 6 furlongs and it attracts some of the fastest sprinters from across Europe.
It's a Group 1 race, the highest level in the sport.
It's something I think we're really proud of, and I think the region should be really proud of. We have this absolute top-class flat race here at Haydock.
A surprising winner today, 16-1 Big Mojo, and a first Group 1 winner for the trainer.
Everybody wants to win Group 1s, best races to win in the country, and it's very hard to win one. I mean, we've been trying to win one for the last 15 years.
First time for me that I've ever been to any races, so I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Will you come back?
Definitely.
Quality of racing is usually quite good, and it's just pleasant. I mean, the bars are nice, and it's not a rush like to Cheltenham and places where you can be mobbed.
A bit of a calmer atmosphere, definitely, yeah.
It's one of our favourites, to be fair. We can go to, say, Doncaster on a Friday and it's absolutely dead, but Haydock's much better.
For Haydock Park, a programme of concert nights is helping to boost numbers. And bosses here say they just hope crowd numbers continue to grow. Judy Hobson, BBC North West Tonight at Haydock Park.
And in County Championship cricket, Lancashire have been in action at Kent as day one closes. The Red Rose side trail by 274 runs with 10 wickets remaining, Roger.
I'd almost forgotten about the County Championship with everything else that's been going on, the 2020 and the 100 and everything. Julia, thank you very much. Right, just before the weather with Kay, this man I think probably needs no introduction, I'm sure. If you know anything about John Bishop, the Liverpool-born comedian, you'll know that he came to his career quite late. He had a good job in the pharmaceutical industry and was in his mid-30s before, 25 years ago, he got on stage for the first time. That was at the Frog and Bucket in Manchester, so he is returning there in his latest tour, and John's been chatting to Kelly Foran.
If this place didn't exist, to be honest with you, I wouldn't be a comedian. You know, I came in just looking for somebody to make me laugh, and then I ended up getting on stage, and everything led from that. So I genuinely, it was a sliding doors moment, so I appreciate the fact that this place is still here, massively.
And were they laughing on that first night 25 years ago?
Not entirely. In fact, I was just speaking to Colin, who's the sound man, on that night.
Oh, wow.
And you can't really see here, but in all comedy clubs, there's a light that flashes when your time's up. And because I'd never done it before, I didn't know that when it flashed, that meant get off. So I just carried on. I remember actually, I was talking to him about it. I remember going, oh, your light broke. And then I carried on. And to get me off, he played, remember that Pearl and Dean that used to be in the cinema? He played that. He just started playing music to get me off.
Did you take the hint?
Oh, God, I took the hint then, yeah. I mean, to be fair, it wasn't difficult anyway, because there was only 7 people in the room.
And how does it feel to be sat in here now? You know, we can see the back seat just there compared to some of the arenas that you're going to be in.
So I'm in here the night after I do Leeds Arena. So Leeds Arena, I think, holds 10,000 people, and then I'll be in the Frog and Bucket with a few people less.
He said, why on earth do you need 14 tickets for your mate? And I just couldn't think of anything else to say. I just went, one of them's not got long.
Talking of the last 25 years, if you could summarise one highlight, is there an obvious one?
Apart from being on North West Tonight.
I know that's toxic, clearly, but is there a second?
No, is there a highlight? When I did the arena in Liverpool, as it was then, the Echo Arena, and I did that for the first time, and my mum and dad brought my uncles and aunties, and to see the way my mum saw it, that was nice. It was nice to have shared that with my mum.
Oh, that's what it's all about, I suppose, isn't it?
It is, but it's also, and again, that's why I'm doing this tour, it's trying to find little moments that you can grab that and if you like, put a stick in the sand and say, this is this moment. And this tour is me saying, oh my God, 25 years, I never believed it. Because otherwise, it just goes so fast. I've never taken it for granted. I still pinch myself that I've got these opportunities.
Because I know, obviously, you're someone who gave up the day job and became a comedian. I went round the office to try and get people's jokes.
Oh, really?
And I know you're not like a one-liner or a dad joke person, but I just thought I'd have to test you out on them. So this is Roger Johnson.
Yeah.
He said, I bought a new Hoover at the weekend. The old one was just gathering dust.
Yeah. Yeah. He's good at the news, though, isn't he?
And Kay said, why is the sun so smart? Because it has over 5,000 degrees.
There's a gap in the market for her. She could come on and do an act in an anorak. Stand there in a cagoule and say, the weather tomorrow is, and then do the sun joke.
There we go. There you go, Kay. We'll pass that one on. Well, good luck with the tour, and thank you for speaking to us.
No, thanks, Kelly.
He's fantastic, isn't he? I paid to go and see him once. I can't believe it.
I'm so happy. He loves me.
Let me just quickly tell you, John is in Manchester and Liverpool next month. If you want to go and see him, there aren't many tickets left by the looks of the website just then.
I'm off.
I pinched that joke off Tim Vine at the Edinburgh Festival, I have to say, years ago.
Did you?
Yeah, but you were very funny. You were very funny.
Thank you.
Oh, you got a new place on the weather app. Don't forget this week to
New
mention
place. It's coming up. Keep your eyes out.
Vlogs.
Now, last night, you might have noticed, skies were like this, a reddy orange hue. Now, it was the total lunar eclipse last night, where the Earth is in between the sun and the moon, and red light is reflected off the moon's surface. We saw skies like this, and I have had lovely pictures of the moon that was incredibly bright to look at. If you saw the blood red moon, then do let me know, because I've seen a lot of pictures like this, but they were stunning. Thank you for sending them in. You can always send them in the usual ways, or you can follow me on socials, Insta, Twitter, or become a BBC weather watcher. Let me know what it's like where you are, which if it was anything like today, then it will have been wet, wet, wet. Some heavy downpours today. I got caught out at lunchtime. Tomorrow, a much better day, a weak ridge of high pressure. Then we see a return of heavy showers as we head midweek, the risk of thunder and lightning, and that unsettled theme continues as low pressure is in charge. So if we take a look at the pressure chart, we've got low pressure sat to the northwest of the UK, and we're getting another feature coming through. And then as we head midweek, we're going to get a cold front that's going to turn things even cooler, and with brisk winds and some heavy downpours, it certainly will feel quite autumnal. Now, a new place on the weather map. Tim, that one's for you. Grindleton near Clitheroe. Now, overnight tonight, any showers near Grindleton will clear. There could well be some lingering for Cumbria. These will clear too. All parts will be dry overnight and cool, much cooler than it was last night. 6 degrees the low in some parts, maybe even a little bit cooler than that in parts of Derbyshire. The winds will be light, but it will be a sunny start to the day. Chilly but sunny, dry and fine, lengthy spells of sunshine. We'll see that sunshine turning hazy as cloud starts to increase, bubbling up across more inland areas, but still well broken. So coastal parts in the Isle of Man, I think, cloudier. The risk of the odd isolated shower, few and far between. Most of us will be dry, feeling pleasant with a high of 20 degrees. But then as we head into the middle part of the week, we've got a load of fronts heading our way and a cold front. So once that passes through, it is going to brighten up some decent spells of sunshine, but heavy downpours are expected. Go back to Wednesday. It's going to be another day of sunny spells, scattered showers becoming quite frequent, merging into longer spells of rain, the risk of hail and thunder and lightning. Top temperatures 18 or 19 degrees. And like I said, those temperatures will start to drop off towards the end of the week. That's your forecast.
You might be a born natural stand-up, but it doesn't fill me with confidence when you go, I went out at lunchtime and got caught out.
I had to get Anna Jameson to give me an umbrella.
Honestly, if you don't know when it's going to rain, what hope is there for the rest of us? Really? Well done. Thank you, as always, for watching. Steve's here with the late news. Have a good evening.
Bye, Tim.
Bye-bye.